Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're grinding through Ni No Kuni Cross Worlds and wondering how to build strong PvE decks, whether you're playing for free or swiping for a bit, this video is for you. I'll break down how to optimize your teams, manage familiars, and pick gear that gets results in PvE content like field bosses, dungeons, and kingdom defense. Let's get into it. Right, first up, let's quickly define what we mean by PvE. PvE in this game is basically one of five things: Chaos field bosses, solo challenges, or kingdom dungeons and raids. Now, to craft weapons or armor in this game, you can access this through your summoner, and you go down to the bottom and click craft. It requires Territe from Chaos Fields, but you can also buy it if necessary. It's the best place for new players or returning players to craft 4-star rare weapons, the strongest in the game. To craft accessories, you need to do field bosses and wall bosses for the components to craft. Now open up decks from the character menu screen. Here you'll be able to equip all your decks and rename them, just to make it easier to remember which decks are for what. I personally like to have the name of the element I'm using as my name for the deck. Now, the two strongest weapons in global for all decks currently is a Milky Way and Kronos. They are the core of all PvE decks, no matter what you play, as they give crit damage and attack speed. Now, I'd advise placing both of these weapons in slot 2 and 3, as you would want slot 1 to be the elemental weapon of choosing. Now, all weapons you wear count towards your deck and damage. It's just the one in slot 1 is your main damage weapon. And like any game that involves elements, fighting element with its weakness, you'll do bonus damage. And if you use the resistance, you do 50% less damage. Now, all gear can be awakened to level 10, the highest available. This takes about 15 spare weapons to max it out if you do it on max, or you can risk it on minimum for 50 and 33% chances. Finally, imprinting is another version of Awakening that was recently added. It's a weaker version, but another power curve. Now, the current meta for PV armor is Saintly Circuit as the helmet and flash shoes for boots, which give movement speed. Chest and gloves are basically choice depending on what class you are, as some like using cooldown reduction and others like using the damage buff gloves when you're above 80% health. Accessories are where a lot of the diversity is available to classes. Some elements have multiple choices of accessories, like Dark recently got new earrings but has an older pair of earrings already. While others like Light don't even have a ring slot available yet. So, from world bosses to field bosses, you are able to craft all types to fit your element of choice. I'll show below what the current accessories are available. Now, orbs are the final addition that was added to the gear a couple of years ago for elemental decks in Ni No Kuni. The rare 4-star orbs are, of course, the strongest as the end goal, but the 4-star normal ones are actually still really good for first-time players, and you can transfer it over later when you get stronger. Liberation and Ancient Stone Imprinting are the final systems implemented to increase your damage. Most of these resources you actually get from kingdom events like dungeons or the weekly village bosses or defense. Finally, if you see the plus numbers on your gear, this is enhancement. If you know Black Desert Online, you probably are familiar with this style of system where failing reduces the level by 1 and succeeding increases it by 1. With the addition of dolls, which you can earn from a monthly Javir crafting, mainly from field bosses, you were able to cancel out the negative degrades and only go up. So make sure you do these field bosses, they're very important for new players. Now we're on to familiars. Familiars are one of the strongest ways to increase your damage or support in Ni No Kuni Cross Worlds. Every familiar in Ni No Kuni has a passive, an active, and a pet battle active. We don't really talk about that for this. For PvE, you want to focus on the first two, which is the passives and the actives. Each element has its own 3-star, 4-star, and a 4-star rare type that are either defense, support, or attack related. Now, in terms of damage, we really just mainly look at the two main types, which is attack and a couple of supports, as defense familiars are more made for PvP. For support decks, we mainly use the support familiars. As you can see from above, this relics increases my base damage and crit rate for every dark or attack familiar I have equipped. This makes it a very strong choice for my dark DPS deck as compared to the others. Now you can have up to 3 familiars equipped per deck. Now each element has its own version, just like this. Unlike gear, familiars can be awakened. Then ultimate awakened. Currently only a select few from each element have this option. More will be unlocked in the future. But this also makes them the most strongest familiars as well. Now familiars also wear toys that give a minor stat increase to the player and the familiars. When you hit around level 100, you learn the option to use a second battle style, which is more DPS orientated and less specialized in buffing as a support. So when I talk about DPS, I'm talking about the new weapon style, and when I'm talking about supporting, it's with the old style. Now, onto presets. As you probably are more new to Ni No Kuni, you will be using the support deck, which is the old style weapons. Support decks are very much required in this game. By having these decks, people will invite you to raids, field bosses, world bosses, even if you're a new player. In Ni No Kuni, all parties receive the same as reward to whoever is ranked the highest. So if you have one whale in your party and he ranks rank 2, everyone in the party gets the rewards for rank 2. This is why the current meta is to have one person as your main DPS and everyone else buffs and supports him to do the most damage that he can. This is why the support decks for new players are the most important. You can get rank 1 rewards as a level 100 in field bosses by not even doing any damage. Now, the most requested supports in this game currently are 2 rogues, 1 support witch, and the final spot is usually up between either a swordsman, engineer, or destroyer. And last but not least, we have Higgledies. We have 3 versions to equip: helmet, chest, and gloves. Just like before, you want to equip the Higgledies that fit with your elemental style you are playing. So, for example, if you are fire DPS, you want to wear fire Higgledies. Pretty simple, huh? And that's a wrap up with my quick introduction to Ni No Kuni Cross Worlds PvE content. If you need advice of how to build complete content, just come visit me. You can always find me in my Discord or on twitch.tv/Hyperia. You can find me on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays from 7 to 9 p.m. GMT.